Greetings from the Long Island Sound podcast. Welcome to the show. Please rate, review, and comment on the show. And call our listener line and leave a message for our guest. Dial 631-800-3579. All right, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Long Island Sound podcast, where we explore the muse and the music, from the North Shore to the South Shore, from New York City to the Hamptons, navigating the wellspring of original music from singer-songwriters and musicians from Long Island, New York. Hi, I'm Steve Yusko from GigDestiny.com. Stay tuned as we explore the Long Island Sound. Buckle your seatbelts and turn up the volume. Brother Dave is in the house. This guitar virtuoso and pedal steel guitar player, singer, songwriter, gigs all over Long Island and has opened up for the blues masters. Let's take a listen to his song, Bak'n Blues. I've been captivated by his music all day. Electrifying blues is just one of the phrases that comes to mind when listening to Brother Dave's excellence on the guitar. Since the age of 17, Brother Dave has been gigging with a variety of New York City-based bands, touring all over the East Coast and Europe. He has opened for world-class performers: Johnny Winter, Dickie Betts, Elvin Bishop, Roomful of Blues, just to name a few. It is my extreme pleasure to welcome Brother Dave to the Long Island Sound podcast. Welcome, Brother Dave. Good to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me, Steve.
Hey, man, it's great. And I'm not shitting you. And let me tell the audience, when you hear the music, you got to crank it to 11 because it's going to get you moving. And I mean it. It really, it was my first impression. It was like really cool. So
I'm glad to hear it, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. So we know somebody in common. My good friend Mike Nugent.
Oh yeah, great player, man. Great guy.
Yeah, and Mike's like, oh yeah, I know Brother Dave. He's really good. I'm like, all right, I'm getting the right people, man. So, and the other introduction, and she's really great. Kelly Baker, during our recent episode said, because I always ask people for referrals. She said, you got to get Brother Dave on. He plays everywhere with everyone. And I'm like, all right, I'll trust it, So.
She's great. Kelly's so great. I have such fun working with her. I played on this track, Blood on the Nile.
Oh, yeah. Played. Yeah.
Yeah, I played pedal steel on that track. That's going to be coming out soon. I don't know when that's coming out. But, yeah, that was a lot of fun working on that with her.
Yeah, I remember when she was talking about that, she said, yeah, you don't usually hear that in Long Island music, to the pedal steel, unless you have some Nashville connection. So, yeah, now it's coming back to memory that she did mention that, So let's do this.
Sure.
What I find interesting, it could be boring. I don't know. It's probably interesting. What was the first instrument you picked up? Did it come natural? I mean, how did it all come together for you?
Well, okay, I got a kind of an interesting story about that.
We'll be the judge of that. Okay.
Well, maybe it's not so interesting, but it's kind of funny. So, I think it was actually the pedal steel that made me want to start playing music. When I first heard that sound, that's what made me want to start playing. But I didn't know what that sound was because, I was born. And, I was born and raised in New York, and there's, I wasn't exposed to a lot of live music growing up as a kid. My family is Russian. My family came here right before I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But my dad was a musician. He was a drummer. And so I learned a lot of music from my dad. Like my dad taught me a lot about music. And I was really captivated by Eric Clapton. In my early teens. Mm-hmm. And he had the studio recording of Tears in Heaven with J.D. Manis on pedal steel.
Okay.
And there's this pedal steel solo in there. And when I first heard it, I was like, Jesus, I have to learn how to play that. So I asked my dad, I'm like, Pops, what is that I hear? Because it sounded like a guitar, but I knew it was not exactly a guitar, but I was a little confused by the sound of it. And so I asked my dad, I was like, what is that? And I remember him trying to explain it to me because, he's from Russia too, but he kind of knew what it was, but he didn't know what it was called. And he's trying to explain it to me. He's like, it's like a guitar. It's but there's guitar on table. It's like table guitar, And I'm like, table guitar? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, it's like table guitar. You play like this, like deck, like deck. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I heard him say guitar. I'm like, okay, guitar. That's a guitar. That's all I need to know. So I started playing guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I played guitar from man. I love guitar, and I still do.
At what age was this? How old were you?
I was about 13.
Okay, all right.
All
right, the hormones are kicking in. All right,
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So then, I got into blues. I got into classic rock. I got into Clapton and Hendrix and all their influences, like Buddy Guy, B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert Collins. All those blues guys, like the early blues guys like Robert Johnson, Mississippi Fred McDowell, Skip James and all that. And then years later, I discovered pedal steel. And I was like, that's the sound that I heard that made me want to play.
Wow. Now, how'd you discover it? You went up to somebody who was playing it? Did you see it in a music store or?
I think I was listening to public radio and and they were 89.9 and 89.1 used to play have these classic country programs and they would mention the artist playing. I'm like, oh, pedal steel, that's probably what that was. And then I saw videos of people playing and I'm like, that's what he was trying to describe. And I saw the way people were playing. I'm like, that's what he was trying to explain to me, but he didn't know what the name of it was.
You didn't know how to articulate it, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how I discovered that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Because to be honest with you, that is one instrument that's beyond me. And as far as the sounds, watch an old Hee Haw show and watch the guy playing pedal steel and the sounds they get out of it, the train whistle and all the different stuff. It was like, this is it's like an early synthesizer, really, when you get down to it, what it can do,
Yeah. It's an amazing instrument and it's very versatile, and it's a lot more versatile than people think. People think it's only for country, but you could play anything on it. And it's used a lot in churches, like the sacred steel is like this whole genre of steel guitar where these guys play lap steels and pedal steels, but they play more of like a blues, R&B type of gospel type of thing. And they use them in churches, like that churches when they don't have like an organ, they'll use a steel guitar because the steel guitar kind of like sustains the notes and creates like a pad and like a wash underneath everything in a way, so they'll use a pedal steel instead of like an organ,
Well, that's one thing about slide guitar or pedal steel guitar for me, and I'm a knucklehead amateur. It's probably the closest thing to the human voice that you can come to emulate those tones and the vibrato and all the all the different things. And I think that's cool. What I think is really cool, and I haven't really, I've jumped into your music, and I'm actually looking very forward to the wellspring of what you've done. I'm just like tip of the iceberg with me. That's why I get kind of excited about it. But I always found it interesting, and I find it with Derek Trucks and his slide guitar and the back and forth, and he goes to places that I don't know, just kind of amazing. And when you have the call and response between a vocalist and a slide guitar, I think that's just one of the most beautiful things in the world, Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, it really is. So from what Kelly was telling me, you play all over the place. So you're the opposite of your last name. You're really not Dave Solo Man. You're like Dave Gig Man. So you're gonna have to change. That's why you call yourself Brother Dave. I get it.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? I got that name from this guy I used to play with, Frankie Paris. He was a New York-based blues and R&B singer, and he used to call me Brother Dave. And he wound up sadly passing away.
I'm sorry.
And so so nobody called me that for a while until I was at a construction site. And I was a laborer at a construction site in my early 20s, and they were like, listen, when you sweep up in the morning, okay, you got to use water when you sweep up. I'm like, how do you use water when you sweep? So like I tried a few different things. I would like take water in like a 5-gallon bucket and like pour it on the floor, and then there's these puddles everywhere. I'm like, well, that's not good. So then I would carry the bucket in my hand, and then I had a broom, and I would dip the broom in the bucket, and I would flick the broom so that the floor would get wet, and then so the floor would get wet, and I would sweep, and the dust would stay down, right? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I thought it was pretty ingenious. And this guy comes in, he's like, hey, Brother Dave, what are you doing? Blessing the place, And I was like, Brother Dave, Frankie used to call me that, So
it's so funny you say it. It's amazing what you can learn on the Long Island Sound, how to sweep properly on a construction site is one of the tips that that's why you got to listen. But what's interesting how you got your moniker, how you got your name. And I worked in construction as well as a steam fitter, if you can believe that, for a short period of time. And all the union guys call each other brother,
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I remember my wife, saying, aren't you being kind of racial when you say that? I said, no. I said, no, I'm really not. Yeah. And actually, I use that term for my friends because honestly, I mean, I'm 60 years old. They're like my brothers. I mean, I spent more time with my friends over a lifetime than my own brothers. So they're my brothers. And I use that term as a term of endearment all the time. So
brothers, mothers.
Yeah, exactly. We've been called worse things, so I can imagine.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, sure.
Oh no, we're going to get. We're going to get into that. There's
why not?
There's no restrictions, just no F-bombs, because then I got to recheck something on the podcast, not for kids and all that other stuff.
Sure.
So
keep it clean for the kids.
Yeah, for the most part, But they're going to learn how to sweep a construction site. So.
That's good. That's useful.
So you're 13.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great. Dad's a pretty fertile ground to help you along. He played guitar, or what did he play?
He was a drummer.
Drummer, right. Okay.
Yeah.
How about mom or any of the other siblings? Do you have any other siblings that were into music, or?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the lonely case, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
But you know what? Having your dad giving you a hand along with that part of music is this is what I believe. You know, just the small amount of encouragement. And you teach music. You have students. You know
Yes.
how far a little bit of encouragement goes.
Yeah.
That you don't know where it's going to rocket ship somebody off to something. You know.
Absolutely. I try to be as encouraging as I can. I try to always look at the positive. You know, because I'm aware that, like, you know, it could be a big hurdle when somebody even like accidentally says something that could be taken as negative or like as a criticism. Sure. You know, people, you know, you can't forget that people are, you know, have feelings. I know it sounds stupid, but like, you know, it's like people really, you know, you got to be careful with people's feelings, and you got to honor them, you know, and you got to really, you know, I like to try to encourage people and help people along, you know?
You know, especially when it comes, for me, it was interesting, especially when it comes to an instrument, there's always going to be somebody who plays different and better than you.
Yeah.
Okay. And as a young, I'll never forget this. A guy came in to tune our piano. Okay. And he played obviously great. I didn't share this. I was so intimidated by that guy that I said, one, I don't practice enough. We never did practice enough. And I could never be that. I could never be that, you know? And yet he was encouraging. He, you know, what little I played, he was, you know, very encouraging. I just didn't take it to heart, you know?
That's good that you didn't take it to heart, because, you know, it's really like, it's really easy to get insecure as a musician, you know? And it's like when you're a musician, you're really kind of like sharing a part of you that's very, very special and very like, you know, it's like very deep, like what you're sharing with people when you're playing music, you know, and it's like you're putting yourself out in the open, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's important, like not to like be too self-critical either, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, like the things like words like better than, I try not to use words like that. And I'm not criticizing you at all, but I try to reframe those types of thoughts. I try to automatically reframe them, because it's like, you know, I feel like music is like a communication. You know, if I say the grass is green, like, can you say that's a good or a bad statement? It's just a statement, right? I'm just communicating with you the color of the grass, right? And I feel like music's like that too. It's a communication. It's really better not to put like a value on it, like whether it's good or bad, but whether it speaks to you or not.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? And it's like it gets to a point where it's really hard to say who's better than who. Like, for instance, like, who would you say is a better guitarist, B.B. King or Steve Vai?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's two different perspectives and two different approaches to the same instrument. That's a good point.
It really is. And like Steve Vai, he couldn't play B.B. King stuff, man. And B.B. King couldn't play Steve Vai stuff, you know?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I tell you, it's one of the things that you touched on was the vulnerability you have in playing, and the same thing with writing songs. The vulnerability, I find that so attractive. One, not only in music, but as I get older, being present to somebody and having a certain amount of confidence to be vulnerable. There's a trust aspect there, and that trust has to go back and forth between musicians when you're playing together. Let's do this. Let's take a break, because we're getting real deep real quick. You know,
good. I like it. I dig it.
Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get into something special. Leave that as a cliffhanger. All right, hang with us.
Good.
Hi, Steve Yusko from Gig Destiny here. Well, as you're probably listening to this podcast, you're probably thinking about that musician who'd make a fantastic guest here on the Long Island Sound. Well, we'd like to hear their story. We'd like to hear their music. So have them reach out to us at gigdestiny.com, and we'll explore their craft. Now, back to our podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We are with Brother Dave. And I just can't get this guy to stop playing. He's noodling all the time. Thanks, brother. And that's through a crappy iPad and microphone. So if you thought that sounds good, wait till you hear this guy in person.
Shucks, you're too kind. Thank you.
So I'm interested in your progression from an adolescent steel guitar, learning about that. How did things kind of develop for you? What was the path you took? Let me ask you this. When did you realize, hey, I can do this, and I really love this? When did that hit you?
Well, it's like, I don't know if it's ever really hit me, but it's like you got to kind of have, like, in a way, it's like just the audacity to just be like, well, you know what? I'm going to make my statement, and, that's kind of it. I try not to think of it as anything more than that, I just it was a kind of thing where it just kind of grabbed me and took hold of me, and I just kind of became obsessed with it, and I couldn't not do it.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? And
there's two aspects of that. There's the musician who's an instrumentalist, let's say, okay, and then there's the singer-songwriter aspect of it. How did they coincide? Did they kind of click in, or did something, chicken or the egg,
Well, I started off just as a regular 6-string guitar player playing electric blues, and then I got into acoustic stuff. And then in my 20s, I got into singing. I always wrote songs, even as I first started playing, I'd write little instrumentals. I probably can't remember any of them. They're on a cassette tape somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just finding where you can play a cassette anymore. That's
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of songs that I've written and forgotten, but there were a lot of them were early instrumentals when I first started writing them. And then I didn't start singing till much later, in my late 20s. Okay. And then I started writing songs with lyrics, and then I started playing steel guitar. I didn't start playing steel guitar till much later, and I started off on lap steel, and then I progressed to pedal steel.
Wow. And I would think, because especially in New York, I would assume there aren't many of you guys pedal steel guitar players. I would think, right?
There's not that many. There's a few, but there's not that many. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think, man, it's like being a bass player. Everyone's looking for a bass player, and all you have to do is bump, 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 and you're in, And,
well, it's easier said than done, but yeah, I know. To some degree.
That's a big joke. When I was in a church group, I was playing guitar, pretty lousily, and they said, "Hey, we need a bass, we need a bass player. Why don't you play bass?"
That's funny. Okay. I played bass in a church band also.
Oh, did you really?
I do. I still do.
Did you? Yeah, we did
still do.
We did a contemporary Christian thing in a Catholic church, which was like voodoo. It was just, and it was great while it lasted. It was great, and that's a podcast for another time.
Right. Yeah, but I every Sunday I'm at Central Church in Huntington, and I play bass in that church group there.
Nice.
It's contemporary Christian stuff and some old, some traditional stuff as well.
Yeah, I go to. We have a great band that's community church here in Babylon. It's very mucus focused, Unitarian, not Unitarian, non-denominational, I would say, but based on Christ and the Holy Trinity. Gotcha. And actually, I had this guy look it up on the episodes. Tom Pryor, phenomenal. Okay. Phenomenal guitarist. He's the music director there, and they they knock it out of the park. And they're always rotating people in and out, which is really great. Anyway, so the building blocks. So now you got the guitar. You've gone in the pedal steel. You've been in bands. Mostly, where'd you grow up, by the way?
Brooklyn, Queens, and then
where all the Russians are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to go to Brighton Beach every day with my dad.
Nice. I've only been there once.
Really?
I really want to go to a Russian club. It might not be in vogue now, to be honest. But
yeah. Well, the funny thing is that I'm actually Ukrainian. But
guess what?
Yeah.
We share something in common.
Are you Ukrainian also?
Yeah, Ukrainian and Polish. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, my mother's Polish. My father was Ukrainian, Slovakian, kind of a mix.
Yeah, my father's a mix of Polish and Ukrainian. But when I was a kid, they told me I was from Russia because Ukraine was part of Russia.
I knew I liked you. Right off the bat. Great. I said this to myself. I said, he must be Ukrainian because he's good. He's really good. No, I'm bullshitting you. So okay. So you're in the Queens area. geographically part of Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens. Okay, so that you got that going for you, and you jump into bands, and then you finally get on the microphone and kind of do that. Where are you now with your career? As far as I know, you play around a lot, but I don't. Do you have a set of guys you play with now, or what's your MO hitting the streets?
Well, these days I do a lot of solo gigs, and I also have my own band, Brother Dave and the Brave.
Okay.
And that's kind of like sort of like a jam band kind of situation. We do like our own kind of interpretations of covers, and sometimes I throw originals in. But then there's the Bushwick Blues Band, which is like kind of like my original project, and that's like a blues rock with other influences as well, and that's primarily originals with a few other covers like peppered in and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually saw. I tuned in last night when you were doing an open mic. By the way, I don't know what camera you used. It looked like broadcast quality. I'm telling you.
Wow!
On Facebook, I was just like, wow, this
wow. I'm glad to hear that. Well, that's Laura Kelly. She does all my social media work. She does she does my weekly emails, and she does like my Facebook posts and stuff. And she also does handles the broadcasts on Tuesdays. And I think she's using her phone or something.
Well, that's pretty damn good, at least from my aspect. And on that note, any people that we've talked about for our audience, you guys who are listening, is we do chapter marks. So you see different photos when you're not driving pop up on your phone of the different people we talk about. Just like Kelly will have her website and certainly Dave's website plugged in. So you'll have an easy way to kind of jump and say, hey, I want to know more about Buddy Guy or this or that or about your band and that sort of thing. So that's a quick reference that's tied in there. The other thing that struck me was, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
43.
You don't look 43.
You don't.
You look like you're in your mid-30s.
It's the lighting. I keep it dark for a reason.
It's the bandana and the hat. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I keep in the dark. I do my best work in the dark,
I'm not going there.
No. Yeah, I might have said too much.
Yeah. Shut the bedroom lights off, honey. Why? Never mind. I do my best work in the dark. Well, what the hell were we talking about? I
don't even know. Yeah.
Well, who cares, right? Let's do this. But before we lose the audience and let's these two knuckleheads chucking along, let's talk about Bak'n Blues, how that came about, because I'm curious. How did that germinate with you, and was it all you or what, as far as writing and that sort of thing?
Well, as you know, marijuana recently became legal in New York.
I know. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, this song is the reason why.
Oh.
Well, not really, but not really. Well, let's just say, we know high people in low places,
And they're usually, hanging out in front of a bodega ready to get some food and some,
exactly,
getting some Funyuns right away because,
Yeah, right. Funyuns. Wow.
Look at you walking. That was really good. That's great. You definitely, at the end of this, have to do a station ID as Christopher Walken.
Oh, my God. It'll be my pleasure.
All right. So that's how that came about. And that's what we heard coming into the episode. And by the way, everything, you're on Spotify and every place where they downstream. So we'll have those links in as well. But I want to talk about your next song, Lonely and Blue. Is it Lonely and Blue?
Yes.
Yeah. Just tell me a little bit about that. And then we'll jump into that song so people can get a listen to that as well. That's a song I really enjoy playing with the Bushwick Blues Band. All the songs, we all co-wrote those songs. Okay.
Yeah. Chaz Rio, the bass player, and he's kind of like the brains behind that operation. I just sing and play guitar, and then we have David Cornejo, the drummer. And
say that again slowly. David
Cornejo.
Okay, you're going to give me the spelling of these guys so we can give them credit. Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, so, we all co-wrote these songs. And Lonely and Blue, it's like, I really enjoy playing that song. It's kind of like, it's a song about when you have like a person in your life that kind of like shines a light. You know what I mean? When there's like, not to sound corny, but like they're cheesy, but like, you know, when things are kind of dark but you have that kind of one person in your life that kind of like puts a little light,
gives you a little epiphany, right?
A little illumination.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? Yeah. And then the other thing I like about that song, which is unique, is that it's an 11-bar blues.
Ooh.
Which is kind of uncommon.
So yeah, so you're shortcutting people. You're
I'm shorting them a bar.
Well, okay. You know, that's a different approach.
Yeah. Well, we might be the only band in history to ever write an 11-bar blues. I don't know if there's ever any other 11-bar blues. So, you know, we have that. We have that we can say about it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The 11-bar blues song. All right, let's take a listen to it, and then we'll be right back after the song. Check it out, everyone.
Sunrise breaking through, but it means nothing if I can't see you. Here you will find me, waiting so kindly for a sunset so perfect and true. I see nothing without you. Just know that I'm spending all my money with some guy you once knew. You took my car, my dog too. Here you will find me, waiting so kindly for a sunset so perfect and true. I see nothing without you. Just know the
want me to noodle or?
Yeah, noodle away, brother. I can edit out the bad notes. So no.
Well, then there's gonna be silence.
No, go ahead. Noodle away. And you're listening to Brother Dave as he continues to noodle. I can't get this guy to stop playing. I mean, we're here to talk, brother. You know,
it's a problem.
I know. Well,
when I watch TV and watch movies, it's like I'm constantly noodling.
As my mom said at the dinner table, Stephen, sit on your hands, please, and eat, and shut up. So Kelly Baker told me you play everywhere with everybody. Tell me some of the bands you've been involved with recently, and I'm really interested in. And I'm going to tell you, just go to his website, go to Brother Dave Blues, and you'll see the people he's played with. It's just kind of amazing. So tell us about who you're with now and what you've done, and give us some history.
Well, okay. So, I have my band, Brother Dave and the Brave, and then there's the Bushwick Blues. And then, a couple other projects I've been working with. I do some stuff with Kelly Baker every now and then. And there's this Celtic rock trio that I'm involved with called Kindred, and we do like country and like some like Irish stuff and like Celtic type of stuff, and that's a lot of fun.
Let me stop you right there. I've got to do you know Andy Cooney?
No.
Okay, so Andy Cooney was an early guest on my program. Very generous guy. He's from Massapequa, New York. His grandparents are from Ireland. Mm-hmm. He's like, as the top album, he has like 19 albums out. And in Ireland and the UK, it's called Irish Country.
Oh, okay.
And he also has a podcast, and he introduces different Celtic acts and stuff like that. So,
cool.
And people new to the scene. So we should connect that group with him. I'm sure he'd love to have you on his podcast. And after I just said it on my podcast, he's obligated to have them on his podcast. Sorry, I cut you off. So
no, not at all. And then there's Atticus Jones.
Okay.
We play at Daisy's once a month, and that's a really cool original band.
And Daisy's is in, for those who don't know.
Patchogue.
Okay.
Daisy's in Patchogue. I'm there most Sundays by myself as a solo thing, and then I play once a month with Atticus Jones there. And Atticus Jones is like an original project. It's very country based, and I play pedal steel and guitar in that band.
Oh, nice. And that's Daisy's Nashville or something like that, or
Daisy's Nashville Lounge. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah, because I think I saw Kelly did a video or something there, or she played there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I might have been on that video with her.
Yeah.
Or maybe she was there solo.
You know, you guys with the bandanas, you all kind of blend in. You know?
Yeah, those guys with the hat and bandanas, you know. Well, the doctor said I got to leave this on for like another 6 weeks, and then
till the tattoo heals.
Yeah, I got like barbed wire tattoo all around. You know?
Nice. Lovely. Try to get a postal job. I'm telling you. That was my father's threat with anything that he thought was off.
Oh, really?
You'll never get a postal job. And he was right. I never got a postal job, which
he was right, huh?
What can I tell you? You know, Tell me this. So
yes,
you tell me about, because some of the people that I was like, this guy could have not opened for these. Tell me about the guys you opened with. Dickie Betts.
Dickie Betts, yeah, that was actually an amazing experience opening for Dickie Betts, just hearing his band. Like, he had such a great band. He had Andy Alador on guitar. He had, I think it was, the other guy, I forget the other guitar player's name. It wasn't Devon Allman, but he was the son of, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names, but it was an amazing band. It was an amazing band. The arrangements they had with.
How'd you get it? How'd you get that gig? And where was it?
That was in Connecticut. It was on the Norwalk Beach.
Okay.
You know, they used to have like summer concerts there. And that was like I played there that was with Rocky Lawrence. He's a Connecticut-based blues guitarist.
Okay.
And we got called for that gig. That was an amazing gig. That was just great just to hear Dickie Betts, you know. Like the guitar arrangements were like amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you have some other greats you played alongside, right? Or prior to, right?
Yeah, well, I opened for Buddy Miles when I was like 19, and that was a trip.
God. Really?
That was a trip. Oh yeah.
Talk about giving yourself cred right there. That's really no, really. I'm serious. At 19,
Buddy Miles. Yeah, when I was 19, I was with this band called Moose and the Bulletproof Blues Band.
Of course.
Yeah. And this guy Moose, great bass player and singer. He's down in Florida now, and he used to work with Gregg Allman. He toured with Gregg Allman, and then he started his own band, and we opened up for Buddy Miles, and that was quite an experience. Let me tell you, I was 19 years old. I was like shocked by everything. Like it was just like
Yeah. So in these instances, is this like, hey, you're the opening act, and do you get to meet or say hello to any of these guys, or not really? It's really you're the opening act, they're on, and you're done.
No, I actually got to meet and say hello to Buddy Miles, but like I was like, if you could imagine me being even more shy and awkward than I am now, I was super shy and awkward. I was 19. I was like, I had a hard time looking people in the eye. I had a hard time talking to people. It was very difficult for me to go out and meet people and play. But
really?
like again,
Wow.
well, like I said, I had to do it. I was just driven to do it, and I wouldn't let anybody stop me. And like,
good for you.
So I just went out there and I just did the best I could.
Right.
But I was very, very socially awkward. And like Buddy Miles said something to me along the lines of a compliment, and I just kind of froze. And I just didn't respond. I was exactly. And he just had like this whole entourage of like all these women, and they were all smoking weed downstairs. It was Chicago Blues. Have you ever been to Chicago Blues in Manhattan before?
No, I have not.
It was a really cool place, man. They had like a downstairs, like dressing room type area where everybody would hang with the band and like get high and stuff. And
it's still around, right?
No, it's not,
it's gone.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
It's like BB King's is gone too. That was a neat place.
Yeah.
A long place. Wow.
So I got to open for a lot of people there at Chicago Blues. I got to open for Buddy Miles, Elvin Bishop, Roomful of Blues. Who else? Oh, Johnny Winter was at Toad's place in New Haven.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That was actually fairly recently. That was like in 2010, I think.
Yeah, and he passed on, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
What a player. Yeah. Just kind of.
Oh yeah.
It's just going to be amazing to play with your heroes. It just.
Well, I didn't get a chance to play with him, but
play near him. I don't care.
Yeah, play near him. Yeah,
just the same street, same block.
Yeah. No, it really was amazing. Yeah.
So that really gives you a lot of. Hey, somebody must have thought you were pretty good to invite you up there. For sure.
I hope so.
No. I mean, there are not many artists who can make that claim that you've had. And I'll tell you a quick Mike Nugent story. Okay, because I was talking about Mike, and Mike is of the generation where he's they're not big into marketing, and music speaks for itself. It's almost like brag. Like I can't brag about myself. Listen to it, what have you. And I was talking about Tedeschi trucks and Mike was in Cadillac Moon, which was a Queens-based group, and he was in the movie The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves. Right? So he's telling me, I was my music's in there. We get a residual every once in a while. So I look it up. I'm like, Mike, you were in the movie, for 6 seconds. They're the bar band in the movie. I was like, holy shit. Oh yeah. And I opened up for, Derek Trucks once in Atlanta and separately with Susan Tedeschi up in Rochester. And I'm like, Mike, you got to tell me these things. These are the coolest things. I got to I got to write a journal about it. I just find that really kind of fascinating. Everyone's just people, but it's really kind of cool when you could.
I lived in Bayside for a while, which is that restaurant that they shot that scene in Devil's Advocate. Yeah. Was like kind of like down the block from where I used to live. It was on Northern Boulevard.
Wow.
Yeah, it's this restaurant called Pier 25A or something like that. It was like a seafood restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's yeah. It was a great movie, and how he got involved. That was just really kind of cool. Anyway, I kind of digress. So we did hear Lonely and Blue, did we? Did we jump into it?
I think we did we?
I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. You're right.
Yeah.
Let's see how.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you're with the forgetful podcast host. Where are we? What
I don't know.
what
Who
is
are we?
today? So let's talk about the third song that you brought, Road Trip. Tell me how that came about and who's playing in that, and we'll take a listen. Give us a little preview of how that came about.
That's a really fun song. I really like that song. That's like kind of like our kind of like I would say more of like a blues rock influence type of song, because we have like some songs that like I don't know if you got
when you say let me interrupt you. When you say we, who do you mean we?
Bushwick Blues.
Okay.
That's Bushwick Blues. Yeah.
Okay, Bushwick Blues.
So,
Thank you.
So yeah, Road Trip is a Bushwick Blues original, and that one's more of like has like a more rock influence on it. And we had Junior Marvin play on guitar on that one. He's so him and I are splitting the lead work on that.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Junior Marvin is great. He was a lot of fun to work with. I had an opportunity to play with him and his band. Well, he actually is fronting the Wailers these days.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, well, he's an original member of the Wailers. He worked with Bob Marley for many years in the Wailers, and he co-wrote a lot of those songs, and he's on a lot of those recordings, like Waiting in Vain, that guitar solo as Junior Marvin.
Oh, wow.
You know, like that part.
Remind me.
Something like that. He does that kind of like solo in there. You know, that little riff that he does. In Waiting in Vain, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, he does a really cool solo on that. But anyway, yeah, I digress. But yeah, Junior Marvin, yeah, he was a lot of fun to work with. So I had an opportunity to work with him with the Wailers.
Now let me ask you, how does I don't know? I'm kind of stupefied here. How do you run into a guy like that? Is he like working in the same studio you're working in, or somebody puts you together? How does that happen?
Well,
or how did that happen? Yeah, for you.
So I met Junior Marvin through a mutual friend. He was doing a gig on Long Island, and we were just like, he came over to like the house of a friend of mine after the gig, and then I was there, and we met and we jammed a little bit, and he invited me on a few gigs with the Wailers, and then during the pandemic, you know, there weren't any gigs,
right.
And you know, we were finishing up our recordings because we started recording the next album that's coming out. We started recording a while back, but we had some room on there for some like extra guitar playing, and we thought, well, let's see if Junior might want to add something to that. So he actually contributed like guitar parts and a few writing ideas to Road Trip as well.
Nice. Let me ask you a technical question. So when you have somebody like him, and he's maybe signed or not signed to a label currently, is there a lot of logistics in authorizing him to play on your music, or not so much?
Honestly, I have no idea.
All right, good. And I just opened that can of worms for you, and we'll just cut that out of the episode.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but I don't handle that stuff. Chaz, Rio,
I know
the
you
bass
said it
player
before. I know
yeah.
you said you're the singer and songwriter and guitar player and nothing more.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the extent of my.
Before we go down the rabbit hole, let's take a listen to Road Trip, and then we'll jump in. Who knows what the hell we're going to learn next? We're going to talk about construction, how to use a screwdriver properly, and take a listen.
You're talking about the drink, right, with the orange juice and the
right. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Take a listen, everybody. We'll be right back after the song.
More weed, her hand is on says he needs a snack. She gives me a big kiss, gives me a little sigh. Says go ahead and hurry on back. She's looking awful good, she's looking so fine. Now she's dropping on that fancy coat of mine.
Hey, everybody. We are back with Brother Dave. And I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun.
Me
Even
too.
in between the stuff that people don't hear that we can't really say we're having fun. So what a pleasure to have you. Tell me what you got coming up in July. And I know you do an open mic because I saw it on Facebook. Is that something consistent that you do? And tell me what you got coming up.
Yeah, so I've been doing Tuesday nights. That's like I host that open jam. It's like an open jam, open mic, and I host that with like my trio, Brother Dave and the Brave.
Okay.
And that's at the Vintage Bar and Lounge in Wantagh.
Okay.
And that's every Tuesday. And we go live on Facebook. So you could go on my Brother Dave page on Facebook and you could look at previous Tuesday night, jam sessions. We usually start off with the house band. We do like a little set and then we invite players up.
Nice.
The Sunday thing I do at Daisy's. I'm at Daisy's on Sunday. It's from 1 to 4 almost every Sunday. Sometimes I have to other commitments and I have to have somebody fill in for me. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of like an open mic, open jam too. It's more, that's more of an acoustic type of mic. And then twice a month I host an open mic at the Garden Grill in Smithtown, and that's a lot of fun. That's a great little place, the Garden Grill in Smithtown.
Okay, cool.
Rob Marcillo and Fred Marcillo. It's a family business.
We'll put a link for them.
Oh, absolutely. Fred Marcillo, great guy, and Rob is a hoot. He's a riot, that guy. He's a show all on himself, and he's just a bartender that night.
Nice,
but
nice.
Him and I, we just freaking go off with all kind. We do our Christopher Walken, Schwarzenegger, James Brown impressions all night. We do Rodney Dangerfield, and then he comes on and he sings at the end of the night, and we just have a lot of fun at that gig.
That's
a
nice.
lot of shenanigans.
That's great. Hey, fun's the best thing to have, is what they say. So
that's what they say. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll try it out. Hey, whoa.
Hey, what do I got to lose? Whoa.
No respect.
I tell you,
Hey, you know what? I really appreciate your time, and
thank you. Thanks for having me.
I honestly mean that. And a lot of times in my podcast, a good friend of mine said, we can account for what's in our bank accounts. We can account for the things we own. We can never account for how much time we have on this earth. The fact that you've given me more than an hour of your time and your art, man, it's a real blessing. So,
oh man, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for your time as well, man.
All right, Brother Dave, we'll see you around town, and check out Brother Dave and all his different aspects, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the time you spent with us. Please subscribe and comment, and visit us at gigdestiny.com. Till next time, be generous with your joy, keep your spirits high, and let the music take you on a journey. Be well. Peace. Thanks so much for listening. Please rate, review, and comment on the show. We really love to hear from you. And call our listener line at 631-800-3579. Again, thanks so much. Be well.